YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back, and today we're ranking one of the most important position groups in all of football here. Top 32 edge rushers, ranking them from 32 to 1 for the upcoming season. So remember, it's based on how I think they will play for the upcoming season. We did rankings based off last year alone when the season ending, so we're moving forward here. This is how we do it for all of these position groups. We got all the offensive groups out there, and we're finishing up with defense. We'll rank some units, offenses, defenses. We got you covered here, so join us for all that. Smash the like button, subscribe, be much appreciated. And then, our Twitter, link down below. A lot of updates, sneak peeks, a lot of polls on here, keeping you guys involved. Ryan Ramczyk got a big deal. We talked about that a little bit. And that happened this morning, of course. So on to my pass rusher, edge rusher rankings. We did defensive lineman rankings. So if you're looking for those interior guys, different video, guys like J.J. Watt in that video, people were always looking for somebody like that. So a lot of good edge rushers. So a lot of good ones did not even get ranked because there's just that many good ones. 32 going to go ROMEO OKWARA. Been a little up and down in his career, but last year he played very, very well for the Detroit Lions. So he kind of can continue to feed off that. He's got his brother there, Julian OKWARA, so maybe that helps as well. Second year playing with him. So I got him at 32. Carlos Dunlap, 31. Interesting one. Always been a solid pass rusher. Has never really been, a top 32 guy maybe. But when he got to Seattle last year, he was playing pretty damn well. So we'll see if he can continue off that. Such a small sample size. But he had a lot of responsibilities there too. So he was playing pretty damn well, like I said. So I got him at 31. Dante Fowler Jr., when his last year with the Rams, he played like a top 15 edge rusher. Very underwhelming last year. He's pretty much been underwhelming unless he's been with Aaron Donald. So we'll see how he is second year with the Atlanta Falcons. They bring in a good defensive mind with Dean Pease there. So that's fantastic. That can definitely help his game. But needs to step it up a little bit. He's got it in him, though. He played like a very, very good edge rusher 2 years ago. D Ford at 29, very tough one to rank because D Ford's talent is better than 29. His talent is just for sure better than 29. I think he's been one of the more underrated edge rushers on the football. Here's the problem, though. The injuries and the way the 49ers are acting, I don't think they're going to give him a whole lot of reps, the reps that he usually gets. I think they're going to limit him a little bit. They're going to use, they got a variety of different players that are pretty versatile that they can bring in to play here, there. Sometimes they got Armstead rushing the edge of the defensive end position. Sometimes he slides in. They bring in a Bukum to kind of play that D forward role. So we're gonna see reps without him even when he is healthy. So that's kind of going to limit him a little bit. Also, the injury concern for this year kind of limits him a little bit. I got a rookie here at 28. Yes, rookies will play this upcoming season, so it shouldn't really be a shocker. Jalen Phillips was the number 1 pass rusher in the class, top 10 player in the class. He's going to be fantastic, I think. He's already polished stopping the run as an edge player, and he's got a list full of moves, traits to be a very solid NFL pass rusher. This could be, if he's healthy, this could be a top 10 of the future here. Emmanuel Ogbah was very close to making lists. He kind of had a breakout year last year. Can he continue off of that? Harold Landry at 27. A little disappointing last year. Year before, showed signs that he could be great. But a little underwhelming last year. But at the same time, the Titans drop him in coverage a ton. I wish they would rush him a little more. So that would be why his production's a little lacking a little bit. But, I think he's going to continue to grow. I loved him out of Boston College. So now Bud Dupree with him, that for sure helps Landry out, his production out. Leonard Floyd at 26, kind of a breakout year last year production-wise. I think getting paired with Aaron Donald definitely helps him out a ton. Of course, Aaron Donald with the defensive lineman. We ranked those yesterday. But Floyd looks like he could be getting better. I think it helps having those guys around him like Aaron Donald, but could have another solid season here. Josh Allen was very disappointing last year with the Jaguars. Year before, rookie year, looked very solid, 10.5 sacks. Last year, again, extremely disappointing. I know he missed some games, but, I think he kind of get back on track. He can get back on track to that first year. For sure. Little bit different defensively, the Jaguars will look. I think they can help them out. Some better guys in the interior. There was just no interior help for the edge rushers. So I definitely think that helps this year going forward. Next group of guys here. MAXX CROSBY at 24, the Raiders. I like his ability to move around a bit. Sometimes they actually slide him inside. Not a whole lot, but mainly rushing off that defensive end position. But pretty effective last year. Did look a little better in his rookie season, but got some more help now, so comes in at 24. Carl Lawson going from the Bengals to the Jets. He hasn't really ranked here yet based off the past, kind of a raw in a way, a prospect still. He still is that, but I think he really steps up in Robert Saleh's scheme here, and he kind of starts taking off because he has the traits. Yeah, he has the physical traits, the athletic ability to be a very solid pass rusher. And I think he's still developing. He's kind of a late bloomer type of guy, and that's fine. So we won't fully see it yet, but I got him at 23. Matthew Judon, which I wasn't really high on in terms of ranking edge rushers, but that was mainly because the Ravens scheme, dropping him in coverage, didn't see a whole lot of production, disappear at times. But going to the Patriots scheme, I think he's going to be more productive. I think there's a perfect scheme for him with the New England Patriots. So I think he'll have a pretty good season here. I got him at 22. Jason Pierre-Paul, 21. Was big time for the Buccaneers in their run last year. Maybe could decline a little bit, but it didn't really seem like it last year. Effective stop and run, getting after the quarterback. Just shows how many good pass rushers there are. Brandon Graham at 20. Another one, he's 33. Could be declining a little bit. Not declining and stopping the run. He's one of the better run-stopping edge rushers. Obviously, his production against the pass can be a little more important, which he has it, but it has declined a little bit over the last couple of years, but still phenomenal player. Yannick Ngakoue, I think now that he's under contract, he's in a set spot, I think that's going to help him a lot. No really security. I mean, he led the Vikings in sacks when they had him for 5 games. He led the team for the whole year, so think about that. So he could play. In the Ravens, kind of a weird scheme for the edge rushers. So now that he's set in a place under contract, 2 years, that alone, you would think has nothing to do with play, but I think it will. He's a very young pass rusher at the same time, so he's continuing to get better. So I got him at 19. He hasn't really been playing here, but I think he will play here. Frank Clark, almost didn't rank him because I don't know if he's going to play or not this year. Some serious legal troubles off the field, but I haven't gotten anything that tells me he's not going to play. But he's at 18. You wish he was a little more productive. What I do like about Frank Clark is he shows up and clutches up in the big games, in the big moments, high motor edge rusher. When you need him most, he's going to show up. But I got him at 18. Montez Sweat, definitely one for the future here. Freaky dude with his athleticism, strength, kind of known as a raw prospect with a lot of upside, but he's already kind of playing that upside. So that is the scary part there. So he's at 17 there, coming from Washington football team. Next group of guys, 16, I got Bradley Chubb. Chubb's been a little disappointing, underwhelming so far. Injuries definitely play a part of that, but it also plays a part of where I rank him because he needs to stay healthy. He could be better. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to produce a little more. But he could be. I probably would have predicted him to be better than 16 by this point when he was drafted. But I do think injuries played a part here. But you got to stay on the field. He's definitely a very good pass rusher. DeMarcus Lawrence got to stay consistent. 1 second he's looking like an elite edge rusher, but then he's kind of non-existent. So I need him. I needed him to stay consistent for sure. He really hasn't played up to right before he got that big contract. He played a complete year, very good. He looked like one of the best defensive ends in all of football. He hasn't really played there yet. Maybe we got glimpses of it here and there. Second half of seasons, it seems like. So, need him to put a complete season together. Don't want those games where he disappears. But he really took off at the end of last year, I thought, getting a good amount of pressure. So I got him at 15. Bud Dupree went from the Steelers to the Titans at 14. If you remember what I was saying after the first quarter of the year, so really early in the season, Bud Dupree I was calling my defensive player of the year. Very early in the season, not too many games played, but he was playing that well. He's definitely a presence guy, doubled quite a bit, actually more than TJ Watt. It's a guy that can drop back, get after the quarterback from the inside, from the outside. So he's kind of a presence guy, the guy you have to game plan for. Definitely the last 2 years he was showing signs of improving big time. But then did get injured, so you do worry about that a little bit. But going to Tennessee, I like where Dupree is heading with his game. Just got to stay healthy. Cameron Jordan at 13, one that could be declining a little bit, in his 30s now. A little underwhelming last year, I guess, in terms of production, but it's not all about the production. I thought there was a lot on him, a lot on his shoulder. He had to kind of carry the team on his shoulders, his back a little bit, the defensive line, I should say, not the team, at times, not all the time. So he does need some more help. You need a guy like Davenport or maybe the rookie Turner to get going to help Jordan out a little bit, because I did think, maybe it looked like maybe he declined a little bit just because he's aging, but maybe it's just because he had to carry a little more on the defensive line. But he comes in at 13. Some of these guys in the 30s, I dropped down a little bit because some of these younger guys are really entering their prime or just ridiculous athletes. That's a big part of today's game. Next group of guys here. You got Chandler Jones at 12. It's gonna be he's 31 right now, coming off that injury. Small sample size last year was a little underwhelming in that small sample size compared to what we were expecting 2 years ago. What he did, so he's been a dominant, consistent pass rusher. But some of these younger guys kind of passing him up. Again, 31 coming off the injury, a little underwhelming early last year, but small sample size. Von Miller is pretty much in the same boat. Recent injury, 32 years old. Has been an elite pass rusher, tough to rank because can he get back there? It's Von Miller. I can't say that he can't. He very well, if he stays healthy the whole season, he might be an elite pass rusher again. It's kind of a shot in the dark. It's kind of a guessing game there for sure, but mainly with his health. He's got to stay healthy. So Von Miller, Chandler Jones in the same boat. Joey Bosa, probably the strangest pass rusher, maybe one of the tougher guys to rank out of anybody in the NFL because this guy could very well be, at the end of the day, could end up being the number one edge rusher in football. But there's a few problems with that. You look at how he comes off the line, how he uses his hands, how strong he is. Those alone, he could be the best in football. The way he beats the offensive tackle he goes against with his hands, with his strength, that's where he may be the best in football. The problem is, and this is where all of a sudden pressures became overrated because you can get all these pressures. To me, it really doesn't matter. It used to be underrated. Now it's overrated. You got to get to the quarterback. You got to hit the quarterback at least. And that's Joey Bosa's problem. He just torches, dominates the tackle. But there's so many times where you watch him, where I watched him last year, where he should have got a sack there, and he did not get a sack. He should have got at least a QB hit there, and he didn't get it. And I think a problem with that is his closing speed, quickness, and burst maybe a little bit. Quarterback makes one move, he's probably going to miss. Now there is a legitimate excuse, I think, for this, and that was he was playing hurt. But at the end of the day, he's playing hurt. Can I see him play healthy? Will he play healthy? Will he get to the quarterback? So some questions here. If Joey Bosa can finish, if he can stay healthy and can finish, he could be the number one pass rusher in football. So that's why he's interesting, very tough. Brandon Staley comes in with the Chargers, great defensive mind. That could help. He runs a 3-4, so I'm wondering Bosa, though. That's a big boy. He's known for his power, his strength. He's going to play 3-4 end. It's not really what he's been playing, but it sounds like the way Staley's been talking, he's stressing the fact that Joey Bosa is still an edge player. So it sounds like he will play 3-4 edge rusher. Usually you want a guy a little more athletic there, compared to where he's been playing 4-3 end. So it's going to be interesting. Shaq Barrett at 9. This guy's actually getting better. And we've seen him 19.5 sacks 2 seasons ago. Last year, not a whole bunch of sack totals, but I think it was more of a presence guy based on his play the year before. I think he created for his teammate. He was kind of the matchup problem, the game plan problem for teams. And we saw him show up in the biggest of moments, too. So clutch, in the NFC Championship, the Super Bowl. Again, the guy is getting better because remember, just 3 years ago, he was a rotation piece. Ridiculous. So Shaq Barrett could actually get better this year. I got him at number 9. It would like the production totals a little higher, but it's not always about that. This is where I start to surprise people a little bit. Remember, I'm kind of predicting this season coming up here. I got Nick Bosa at 8, another Bosa brother here. I thought Nick has looked better in the very small sample size than Joey just because he kind of can finish. He can get to the quarterback. He has more athleticism, which is the name of the game today. It's what you want here. And that could be the difference. Is he going to stay healthy, though? Another health concern. Even actually coming out of Ohio State, there was not a major concern, but in the back of my mind, there was a slight concern with injuries. And then last year, that kind of showed a little bit. And for some reason, San Francisco 49ers, that shows a lot throughout the roster. So will he stay healthy? It's scary to think he actually has upside. Another Bosa that could be the number one pass rusher in football because he kind of has what Joey Bosa has, but he has those athleticism. He just has more of an injury concern, in my opinion. So it's very tough to rank. It's so hard for me to predict injuries. I predict how guys will play, but if you can kind of guarantee me this guy's going to stay healthy the whole way, he could be number one. Huge Brian Burns fan. You guys know that. I've been hyping up Brian Burns for some time. This guy's going to be a stud. He could be the very best edge rusher in football one day. He's kind of getting there. His stat totals won't show how great he played last year. He's just developing some ridiculous moves off the outside using his athleticism. He is creating quarterback hurries. He's hitting the quarterback as he's throwing him a ton. He was very, very close to having a bunch of sacks. That's what I like, though, because he's young. He's still developing moves. He has the athleticism. He was there hitting the quarterback, making him hurry. He actually had some sacks taken away, I noticed, from some taken back plays. The plays were taken away, penalties. So this guy's getting better. He's going to be scary. Wouldn't surprise me if he led the league in sacks one day. Could it be this year? Zadarius Smith, love his game. It's a presence guy. He'll rush, hand the dirt off the ball, out from the outside, from the inside, and he makes that impact. When they needed that, in that strip sack, that big sack, in that big moment, he gave it to his team. He gave it to the Packers, so I love his game for sure. I do think he was a little better first year in Green Bay than last year, pretty close, but I do think it's probably because teams started to game plan a little more for him because the first year teams just didn't know what to do. Pre-snap, he's moving all over the place. You don't know where he's going to rush from. Confuse the hell out of teams. And not too many guys can do that. Not too many guys have the ability to do that. You got to have some instincts. But maybe teams are starting to figure out little ways to game plan for him, but it's, it's not something, it's easier said than done, to actually figure it out, So he's been dominant. Danielle Hunter at 5. We actually didn't get to see Danielle Hunter last year because of injury. Hasn't really had injury concern at all until that point. So is there some concern? There could be some. He had surgery on his neck. So that's really never good. But was a dominant defensive end before that. Still actually young too, so getting better. Can win with. It's the ultimate guy that could. Which is he better with? Winning with his speed, athleticism, or his strength? You can't really tell which one's better because he's that good in both categories. So the Vikings. They really missed him. They really missed him last year. So hopefully staying healthy. He comes in at number 5. Top 4. This is where some people are going to have a problem with me. Myles Garrett comes in at 4. Myles Garrett very well could be number 1 if he stays healthy. Coming out of the game, missing some games here, but still putting up full season totals when playing 12 games or so, 14 games, whatever it is. But if he finishes the whole season, he's probably the number 1 pass rusher. He probably is. They stopped him from playing basketball. That's good. They want to make sure he's staying healthy. That's smart of the Browns. But a guy that could be number 1, another guy that could be number 1 is TJ Watt of the Steelers. Played like the best last year. What's the good for TJ Watt? He's an elite pass rusher, but that's the obvious. The good is I don't think he was supposed to be this good. I don't think anybody thought he was supposed to be this good at this point of his career. People thought he could be this good, not at that this early. It was kind of a raw prospect. What is he exactly? Some people probably thought he was an off-the-ball linebacker. 4-3 teams took him. They probably put him off the ball, so football fans in general are very fortunate. A 3-4 team, which we expected, but a 3-4 team took him, put him as an edge rusher, thank God. But that's the scary thing. He wasn't supposed to be this good at this moment, so he actually could be getting better, and that's ridiculous there. He had moments that won't show up in the stat sheet as well with his, being a disruptor, even dropping back, so I love that. Those reasons he could be the number 1 edge rusher. What is kind of the question, and there's definitely no doubt here, but it is a question that we're all wanting to know, as soon as Bud Dupree came out for the Steelers, I thought TJ Watt and really the rest of the Steelers defense declined a little bit. Bud Dupree was actually taking on a lot of double teams. The game plan, even though everyone knows TJ Watt is better, the game plan for offenses was Bud Dupree. Where is he rushing from? Where is he coming from? Is he going to drop back? So that was actually the focus there. So how will he be? I think TJ Watt will take on more double teams this year, but that doesn't mean he's going to play worse or anything. It's just something that we're waiting for here to see. Khalil Mack at 2, another presence guy. He hasn't been getting the sack totals we wanted him to or that he used to be able to get. At any given time, he can still get those numbers for sure. But, he's doubled as much as anybody. He stops the run at an elite level. He gets pressure on the quarterback. He's just such a game changer when you need him most. I think he definitely, I think I talked about it. He creates for the rest of his team. So I got him at number 2 still. But could we see it's hard to say Khalil Mack's going to decline because he's such an elite talent. But could we see, it's more of the other guys getting better. TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, could they pass him because of that? And this is where I really surprise people. I have Chase Young at number 1, Washington football team's second-year edge rusher. Again, this is for the 2021 season. I just think Chase Young's going to be the best pass rusher in football this year. And I don't know if that really should be that shocking. The prospect that he was, and TJ Watt's ahead of schedule how he was supposed to be. Myles Garrett looks like the best when he's on the field. Danielle Hunter's right away he took off. He wasn't supposed to be that. So it really shouldn't be that much of a shocker that somebody like this, like the Chase Young that we knew about in high school, is going to be this good. Maybe a little underwhelming in terms of getting sacks on the quarterback last year. I'm not worried. He's going to get the production this year for sure. He's already an elite run stopper as an edge rusher. So that doesn't need work. He's already set there this offseason, a normal offseason. Remember what last year is when he was coming in as a rookie. Remember what that was. He can work on his pass rush traits, abilities, game with Ron Rivera in company, with that team around him, Montez Sweat, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Matt Ioannidis, and they get guys, in the back part too. Remember Landon Collins back. All that helps as well. I think he's going to be an absolute problem. I think he's going to be an absolute monster. So, again, I'm probably surprised because there's a lot of people that think I should rank based off last year. I actually did that. I do it every year right after the season happens. Last year's last year. The only thing we always remember, only thing that really matters is who won the Super Bowl. We move on. So I am predicting, maybe a little bold, I'm predicting Chase Young to be the best pass rusher in all of football this year. But again, and we went down to like number 10 or in that range where I thought this guy can be the number one pass rusher. It's just not much splitting them up. If this happens, this guy could be one. If that happens, this guy can be one. That's just how it is. There's so many damn good edge rushers in football. There's some really good ones that I didn't even rank because there's that many of them in the NFL. It's such an important position, and this position's thriving in today's game. Even as good as offense is in today's game, it's because a lot of these guys are absolute freaks. Looks like they made them in a lab somewhere. And the athleticism and quickness and speed and burst and get off, it just dominates today's NFL. Chase Young has all of it. He has all of it. So these guys are just so tight. Again, Garrett stays healthy full season. Probably number one a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see if he does. That's going to do it for my edge rusher rankings, though. That's it. We got linebackers next. Then corners and safeties, and then we'll rank some units and offense, defense, things like that. We got you covered. Smash that like button, subscribe, follow our Twitter. Be much appreciated. It's going to do it, though. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.